Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Digital Painter Vidcast. My name is Terry Danich-Kimak II, and I am the Digital Painter. This week, what we're going to be looking at is something called masking. And the reason we're going to be looking at it is because it's something that you can use that is non-destructive in your editing or painting if you're building up multiple layers. So let me jump over to a program that I use quite often called Corel Painter. And let's jump to this image right here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So as a scene designer, I often have to do quick sketches, pencil sketches of the scenery that's going to be used on stage. And I've moved mainly digital by this point in time. I still do a lot of sketching on my own, using pencil and paper, but when it comes to speed of workflow, digital's the way to go for me. So what that also means is sometimes I have to build up my layers. So with a background and then furniture, and if I put people in there and props and all these other items. If you're doing a pencil sketch, you're not filling in the insides of these. And so you'll oftentimes see what is underneath. If I was doing this on pencil and paper, I'd be erasing lines. I would be, sketching over top of things, maybe doing some shading that hides the lines. But we have what I consider a better process in digital painting. So I'm going to move over to my Wacom Cintiq. There it is. And this is the current show that I'm working on. It's called Clybourne Park. And you'll see, I've got walls and I've got furniture and all sorts of great things. And we're going to jump over here in this area. Ooh, a little too much. There we go. And this is these are moving boxes because the people in the house in the first act are actually in the process of moving out of the house. And I finished these up last night when I was very, very tired. And what we're going to do is we're going to clean them up a little bit, make them look a little prettier, and I'm going to show you how I use the mask. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to erase some of my lines that are really kind of messy. Come in and maybe fix them up a little bit. There we go. So this is a box, they're moving, as I said, this group of people. And so we're gonna clean it up. Now, one of the things you'll see in the background here is part of the step, and we can see it even more. Let me show you it a little more. There we go. So we see the step there through the box. Now that's a problem. One of the things I can do is I can go in and erase what's there. But what if the director then comes to me and says, hey Terry, can we move this box over here or move this piece of furniture over there? And I have to go, okay, let me do that. Then I've got to draw these lines back in, and it becomes a problem. Instead, what we're going to use a mask. And if you look over here, layer 4 has the regular layer, and then next to it, a white square with a bunch of black marks in it. Those black marks are some of the masking I've already done. Notice how you can choose between the two. Well, I'm going to choose the second one, and I'm going to make sure that my pen marking is black. Again, this layer is the entirety of my background. You say I turn it off, turn it on, and I have a layer mask on it. And I can come in here now with black, and I'm going to paint over the lines that are behind the box. Now those lines are gone. Now the box is sitting in front of the step. Now if the director comes to me and says, hey, let's move it, I just switch to white and I paint them back in. They don't go anywhere. This is non-destructive, meaning that I'm not deleting anything. I'm not removing anything. And non-destructive is really nice because it allows you to, it allows you to keep everything intact. And if you make a mistake, you can go back. if I did end up erasing this, I'd be able to undo for a little bit, but eventually I'd be putting down so many items that the undo is not going to go back that far. So how do we get, let me go ahead and fill this mask back in. So how do we get this mask? How does it work? Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that. We're going to go ahead and take and open up a new file. There we go. And in this file, I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to grab blue. You hear my cats in the background. We're just going to do a quick box. Nothing special. And let's say in front of that box, oh, and I did this again. I do this every time. I have to remember to do it on the correct layer. There we go. Layer 1. Okay, and then we're going to add a second layer, and we're going to go ahead and let's say there's a ball that wants to sit in front of this. Let's make it 2 balls. Okay, so now, right now, we see the box behind the blue balls, or the red balls. If we select layer 1 in the layer palette, and down at the bottom, you'll see a tool called New Layer Mask, or a button. If we press that, now we have our 2 boxes up here. If we have selected our mask and switch to black, we can come in and we can erase, quote unquote, erase. We can remove everything that is behind that layer mask. And now those items are sitting in front of the box. Now the question is, what if somebody comes in and says, okay, well, we want to move our circles and we're going to move them over here. And suddenly you go, oh, well, that changes things. Well, if you take your color and switch it to white, oops, and select the mask again, you can paint back in everything that you got rid of. And then you can go and switch to black and remove the new items. Again, this is non-destructive. Now, this is something that you probably do in the sketch phase of a painting. As you move closer to the end, things aren't going to move and you're moving directly into the painting. Well, you can go up onto your layer mask and you can apply layer mask. And I click that button. So now we've created a finalized version. The major problem here is you can't go back, but by the time you're ready to paint something, you're not going to go back anyways. Okay. Now, other programs also have this. So, for example, Photoshop has this ability. So, deselect all this, grab a decent brush. We'll grab Ink Big, and we could do, I should probably do a new layer. There we go. And then we grab a different color and a new layer above. Reduce our size because we're a little bigger than what I want to be. There we go. And we'll go ahead and put our circle in front. Then we'll go back down to layer 3. You see down here we have a layer mask. Switch to black. Increase our size back up. And come in here. And there we go. Again, what if somebody decides, hey, I'm going to move my circle over? We just go back into our layer mask, switch to white. Oops. Don't want to do that. We want to switch to our brush tool. We've got it on white. We bring back the old stuff. We switch to black and we get rid of the new stuff. And there we go. Okay, so it works in Photoshop. If you use PaintStorm Studio, it works in PaintStorm Studio. So we've got, I'm going to create a triangle this time. And in front of the triangle, we're going to put a circle. And on our triangle layer, we're going to create the mask, switch to black. Get rid of that. There it is. But what if somebody wants to move the circle to over here? We come back in the mask. We bring, oops. Always forget to switch back to the brush. We bring our Well, that's interesting. The mask here works differently. I'm going to have to play with it here because it looks like it just removes it. And even if I switch to black, it doesn't bring it back. If I switch to white, doesn't bring it back. Switch to red, definitely it doesn't bring it back. Interesting. So it looks like yeah. All right. Well, something interesting to note on PaintStorm Studio. I may have to play with that a little bit. I'm probably completely wrong here. There's got to be a way to remove it. I just haven't figured it out yet. I haven't used masking in PaintStorm Studio much, so I apologize for that. But I have used it in Corel Painter, have used it in Photoshop, and it is extremely useful. So that's it for this week. If you're using a program that has a masking ability, definitely look into it. You know, yeah, see, it's very simple here in PaintStorm Studio. Definitely look into it if you're layering images. You know, again, this should be part of your basic initial sketch. It should not be part of necessarily your final painting because, as I said, as you get to that final painting point, there's no need for it. All right, that's it for this week. My name is Terry Dana Jakumiak II. I am the Digital Painter. If you want to get a hold of me, you can send me an email at terry.jakumiak@thedigitalpainter.com. You can head over to thedigitalpainter.com, send me an email or a Facebook message or a Twitter tweet at me, any of those ways. And or even, you know, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment. So I put out these videos about once a week. All right. That's it for this week, and take care.